What is up, everybody? Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome, in fact, to PCP Movie Night. Even more so, in fact, welcome to the second week of Horrorfest 2026, kicking it off with an absolute classic, in my opinion. We're talking Phantasm tonight, written and directed by Don Coscarelli, starring Michael Baldwin, others, including the late and great Angus Scrimm and Reggie Bannister. Super excited to dive into this one. I even brought my silver sphere out to celebrate the occasion. And joining us, of course, as usual, is Jelani. What's up, homie? How you doing?
Station. Glad to be here. Still mad I got sound issues on my computer, but I'm working that out. But I'm glad that we're talking about Phantasm because it is a horror classic, and we did the full review before, but now we get to dive deeper into the Phantasm.
Right. That's right. You know, a few years ago here on Horrorfest for PCP Movie Night, we did all 5 Phantasm films. But when we do that, we can't really dive into one particular film the way we typically do here on most PCP Movie Nights. So we definitely decided that the Phantasm first film deserved that honor. Speaking of honor, we're honored to have Brooks here with us. How you doing, my man?
What's up? We're hot as love.
We're hot as love, you know. Heck yeah, man. Well, I'm just sitting here at midnight. Heck yeah, dude. Good to see you here, man.
Good to be here.
Heck yeah. All right.
One of my favorites.
I believe this is the first appearance on Horrorfest for 2026 for this gentleman who is joining us in September on his own channel. So we're just a week away from that. But it's Matt from Heroes for Hire Comics.
Wait a minute. Did you say Horrorfest? I thought this was Horrorfest. What? Am I in the wrong? Never mind. Station, how you doing?
Doing well.
You know what? It's always cool when you can tell a story about an old man and his balls, right? So, but I love this movie. I really watched it this morning, and it still kind of freaks me out sometimes. It's a little bit. I love it though.
This movie had a great tagline. It said, "If this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead."
Yeah.
And I love
boy.
I love it when grown men talk about their balls, man.
Yeah, I know.
When I met Don Coscarelli, he signed to Robbie, "Keep your balls in the air." So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, technically, they're not balls. They're metallic spheres.
They're silver spheres until we get to like part 4 where we get introduced to the golden one. We're not talking about that tonight. But speaking of the golden one, this dude starred as the golden child in a community college reproduction on stage. It's Joe Corallo. How you doing?
What's up, Joe?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. You know, I just don't get off on funerals. You know, they give me the creeps. And yet, for you guys, I'm here. So,
well, I appreciate that. And rounding out the panel is the man himself. It's Link. What's up, Link? How you doing?
I'm not even going to try with the intros and shit. I'm just going to give a wave. You know, I'm happy to be here, though.
All right. Fair enough. All right, Phantasm. Y'all, I love this film. When did I first watch it? I didn't watch this one when I was growing up in the 80s, right? Like I wasn't really familiar with it. Like when I finally watched it, which I believe y'all was like in the pad era, like with like when I lived with James or something like that, right? And actually, I think I was working at Movie Stop, and we got in at the time the brand new Anchor Bay DVD, and I took it home because I loved that cover, and we watched it, and I was like, I have no idea what the hell just happened in this movie, but I absolutely loved it. Like I loved the music, I loved the dreamy, surreal atmosphere throughout. I love how it didn't make any sense. Wait, so who died? Who didn't die? His brother died in a car accident. Like, then I remember uncovering the sequels, and the sequels really elaborate a lot on the story. The mythology kind of cements a little bit, especially into what actually occurred within the first one. So then I was like, I became obsessed with that franchise. So I was very excited. Obviously, it was one of the first horror movie franchises that we did here on PCP Movie Night. But I love this film. I think it's absolutely brilliant. This is Don Coscarelli's third film. He did two little like kid-focused comedies, right? Like slice of life comedies before this, Kenny and Company and is it Jim World's Greatest or something like that? I've actually never seen those movies, but it stars Michael Baldwin and Angus Scrimm and Reggie Bannister. And there's a moment in there where it's like taking place on Halloween and there's a little scare moment. And Don Coscarelli thought it was so cool when he saw an audience jump, right? So him, family, friends, they got some money together and they produced Phantasm for about $300,000. This movie got picked up. It got a theatrical release and became a very huge success for its time in 1979, eventually grossing $22 million. And for a $300,000 film in 1979 that was made by a dude and his friends, and I think Coscarelli was only like 22, 23 or something like that, freaking rocked, man. I love this movie. I also met Michael Baldwin. There's what he got to sign. And I got to meet Reggie Bannister, who unfortunately passed away just a few weeks ago. But Reggie's one of my favorite characters in this movie. I love all of the performances because they may not be great actors, but they're real friends, and it comes across on screen, and it leads to an authenticity in those performances. I love the silver sphere. I love the effects. I love the tall man. Tall man is iconic and doesn't get as much respect and proper like knowledge put on his name amongst the others like Freddie and Michael and Jason and Pinhead. I think the tall man is just as iconic as them. But I love this film. I think it's an amazing film. I think it's brilliant. The more and more I watch it, the more and more I pick from it. We're doing a kill count. And to the best of my knowledge, me and Matt really had to break this down. We're not going to count like some people in Sinners counted when somebody got turned into a vampire, and then when the vampire got destroyed, they counted that twice. We don't play those kind of games. Yeah. So right now, within just 3 shows of Horrorfest, our kill count is at 170 right now. And we are counting 3 for Phantasm.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's going to lead us now to a total of 173 for our body count, our kill count, our death count for Horrorfest. So 173, because some of these deaths get unwritten later on in the movie, you know? And just like with the vampire thing, I'm not counting Tommy twice, right? When Tommy becomes a lurker, he's just dead from that moment on, right? Either undead or whatever. So anyway, getting that housekeeping out of the way, let's talk about Phantasm here to celebrate Horrorfest 2026. Jill Laney, what's your history? What do you think overall?
I don't remember the first time I saw Phantasm, but I know I saw Phantasm young. And it bothered me. Because it was the ball. It's always the ball. It's one of those iconic things that you see that like wears me out when I see it. And I remember I watched it young. I watched it once again, probably in the early 2000s. I do not remember when. And it still bothered me. And it was, I've only watched 1 and 2 until I saw like the freaking, the whole wave of Phantasm movies. Cause I didn't get past 2. And when I saw all of them together, it kind of makes sense. And Angus Scrimm is probably the mainstay in almost all of these. He's menacing. He's just the tall man. And it's such an iconic character, as you said before. And I love him as well because of how freaky it is. I keep forgetting, every time I watch this movie, I'm still confused. Because is it a dream? Is it real? Does the end happen? Are the things that am I seeing what I'm supposed to see? And it's a fever dream movie, and it works out so well. It's iconic to me. I like it. I don't love it because it's and the tits are very early on, and you don't see anymore. So I'm okay with it. I'm middle of the road with Phantasm. I still like the kills in it. I still like the janitor. This time when I saw the janitor get stabbed in the head and then he dies and then he pisses himself. I don't know what it is about that scene that still bothers me.
That was a nice touch. The
They were going to get an X rating. They were going to get an X rating
Yeah.
because of that, right? And they kept trying to like keep sending it through, and that was the scene. And then eventually somebody like kind of stood up for them. But yeah, man, out of everything,
I would piss myself if I was stabbed in the head with a drill, a sphere, and drill my skull out. Yeah, I think I do a lot more than that, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's still an iconic film. I can't. Fangoria came out for years, and they loved this movie because they always talk Phantasm, it's Phantasm, and I always saw Fangoria in like bookstores and stuff like that. And it was just one of those films that people would not stop talking about in the horror community, in the horror genre. So I saw it, and I was still bothered by it. And then I saw it older, and it still bothered me. This watch, I've seen it, and I'm like, it's still a fever dream to me. It's still one of those films that still confuses me. Because I'm like, Reggie clearly got stabbed. Reggie is dead. He got killed by the was a woman. And yet, he's at the end comforting Mike. And I'm like, every time.
Yeah.
So I still it's every time I see it. So yeah, it's one of those mixed bag movies for me as well, but I still enjoy it.
All right. Fair enough. You know, I absolutely love the dreamlike, ethereal nature of the movie, which is very much intentional. A lot of it based on dreams Don Coscarelli had, including one when he was a kid where he was running through the hallway being chased by a metal sphere that wanted to suck his brains out. I'm like, that's crazy to remember that and then have actually actualized that on film. I think that's wild, but it intentionally has that phantasmic vibe to it. What about you, Brooks? What do you think about this film overall?
Yeah, this is another one I hadn't seen like growing up, but I think I'd seen like maybe a preview for it on another movie because I remember the scene with the tall man looming over the bed. I remember that scene. I remember the sphere going into the dude's head. So I must have there are a couple of scenes I remembered, but I'd never seen the movie until we watched it for the franchise review. And fortunately, my Walmart was selling this set. It's like all 5 Phantasm movies with a glow-in-the-dark slipcover.
Oh, very cool.
Like, oh, nice.
Might as well get that. And boy, am I glad I did, because this movie is one of my favorites, man. Like, you know, it's very dreamlike. It's like it's a very artsy movie for like, you know, this kind of but it's also like, you know, a gritty kind of like late 70s exploitation style kind of movie too. Like, you know, I love how like, you know, the protagonists they're such hippies, but at the same time, he seems kind of like a military guy too. It's like they don't really tell you much about the characters. Like you have to like kind of infer certain things about him. Like, you know, because Jody has like such a proficiency with firearms, and you know he's very like, you know, obviously he has a lot of rules around firearms. It kind of gives you this idea that, you know, maybe he's like an ex-soldier or something like that, but they never like get into it. Like Mike never says anything about him going to war. It's like, you know, it's a movie that's very much about like, you know, it's a kid's anxiety. Like, you know, it's like, you know, it's got some great scenes. Like, you know, any scene inside of the funeral parlor, like that white hallway with like, it's like the settings, dude. It's like the scenes are just so good, man.
They built that set too, man. And this like low budget, self-made movie, man. They like built that set. That's crazy.
Like I would hang out in that room, dude.
I watched a documentary about it today after I watched the movie, and he's talking about how they had to do it on the weekends. They were just would go on the weekends and record this movie, and then like have the week off to like figure out what else to do.
Yeah, I love the external shot too of the mansion. It's like it's this huge ass fucking building. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's like
it's an amazing building, Brooks. I think it's really cool.
to see that one of these days. If I ever manage to get out of this stink town.
Get out of this one-horse town, man.
So you love the film, Brooks, is what you're saying. Heck
Yeah, I like it. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah,
It's all right.
it's all right. It's all right. All right, Matt.
All
What
right.
about you? What do you think about this film, man? Seems in your kind of wheelhouse, man. It seems like you're a big 70s guy, man.
I like the 70s, early 80s horror films. I also like movies like this with this guy. You know, it's like we were saying earlier, it's an indie film. I like when these guys just get a thought and they're like, you know what? I got an idea for a movie and I'm going to see it through. He saw his vision through, and it turned out. I love it when it's a success story like that. You know what I mean? I don't know if you could consider, I guess, Texas Chainsaw Massacre the same way. A lot of these horror directors, they kind of had to do their own thing to get started. You know, Sam Raimi, didn't he go to like a dentist or something or a doctor and be like, hey, could you loan us some money to make this movie or something? I can't remember exactly. I don't know a lot. I'm not an expert on a lot of the lore of Evil Dead. But anyway, this movie, let's talk about this movie. I'm with Robbie. I really like the dream kind of feel to it. And I think at the heart of it, like, I know we're going to talk about this later, but I still think we should talk about it now. It's about a young man. At the heart of the movie, it's a young man trying to come to terms with his grief. Trying to accept that. You know, the last stage is acceptance, they say, right? And it's I really like the way they do it. It's got a great cast, and like when you watch the documentary, you really get a sense that these guys are like a family off camera. Like they all like hung out with each other, even though the one kid was the one that played the younger brother. The guy that played the older brother is like, I was only 10 years older than him, so I kind of took him under my wing. And so it seemed like they had cool stories about like being on that set, and the car kicks ass. I love this Plymouth Barracuda. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite muscle cars. Yeah. And actually, I always thought that bar, that cantina, when I was a kid, I said I always want to hang out in a bar like that. That looks pretty cool.
What a crazy bar! I bet that like actually existed, like in one of those little towns with that like horse up there. And
it might be. They filmed it in Chatsworth, California. I think the whole movie. I think most of it. Also, it's like, I don't know. I kind of like that thing where you're like, is this real or are we in a dream right now? It's like I sent Robbie a clip the day of it. I'm like, man, I forgot how freaky this movie was. Like, you know, like when you go in that room, when they go in that room with all the black barrels, right? And it's got the two big like posts or whatever. And I had to rewatch it 3 times because I forgot about that part. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's just like, but also it's like, you know how scary, like, I don't know when you were a kid, I think we're seeing it through the eye of the kid, right? I don't know if y'all were like this when you were a little kid, but like I hated, it freaked me out to have to go to a funeral for somebody. Like when I was a little kid, my mom or somebody would drag me to my great aunt or something had passed away, right? And you had to go to the funeral. And I always thought the funeral home was scary. So I don't know. I just didn't like seeing people up there in that casket.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And also for like $300, what did you say? $300,000, Robbie?
Yeah.
The sets are phenomenal. Like the mausoleum they use. I guess it was a real mausoleum. Is it a real?
They built the mausoleum set.
Oh, they built it.
So it's a real building. Okay. Like the exterior is a real like mansion, but the inside with the interior was a set.
Yeah. And that, I don't know. I remember specifically when I was a kid seeing this movie on, and that part where he like looks in the mirror and he sees the tall man. He's like, boy, that always fucked with me so hard, man. I don't know. That guy that guy just plays the tall man. It's amazing. And I know we're all going to talk about the characters later, so I won't get into it, but I really, really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed it again today. So
heck yeah, happy to hear that. What about you, Joe? What you think about Phantasm, my man?
Yeah, no, I do like this. It's funny because when I was a kid, well before I actually watched the movie, I would like conflate this with like the Disney horror movies, like Something This Way, you know, Something Wicked This Way Comes, and like Mr. Boogedy and things like that. I was like, is that one of those kind of things? Because like I hadn't seen it. But yeah, I mean, it's in a way it feels kind of like the first like real like American giallo film. Like it hits a lot of those, like it checks a lot of those boxes while like feeling like a giallo. Like some movies came out around that. I think what was it, Dress to Kill, and some other like giallo inspired movies, but this felt, because of the budget and other elements, like no, like this didn't feel giallo inspired. It felt like a giallo.
The score, the weird insect bit, like
the weird insect bit for sure. Like this felt like it felt like, there was a little Suspiria in there. There was a little, Fulci in there, all that sort of stuff.
That finger in the yellow phlegm, it looked like it's a yellow phlegm.
Yeah.
Up. Oh.
For both good and bad reasons, the acting also felt like a giallo movie. Like, I mean, some of the acting in this movie and delivery is genuinely heinous. Like when the brother just like looks at the finger in the box and goes like, "All right, I believe you." It's like, what are we doing? But no, like, and some of my biggest problems might maybe not the right word, but in terms of like, it's the give and take of, you've got this auteur who has a low budget and his first horror movie on no money, and one of his first movies in general, that writing, directing, like doing all these things. Part of the structure of the film, and I know this is partly because of editing it down, but even if it wasn't, like, they go back and forth way too fucking much in this movie. This movie is constantly like, I gotta go to the house. I gotta go back. We gotta go back to the house. I gotta go back. We gotta go back to that. Like, what? Enough. Like, the movie does way too many times. Like, they make it work because of how it's edited, the weird things that happen throughout, the amount of scenes where characters do things like, he's gonna take out a gun, and okay, and like things like that in the movie, or like just the kid cutting the fingers off and then like taking one of the, all that kind of stuff where you're like, what? Huh? What are we doing? Yeah. The kid did that? Like, that keeps the movie fresh. It keeps the movie having this more timeless quality.
What about when he MacGyvers his way out of his fucking room? I'm like, I'm still like, I don't know.
And Joe's got a point.
I don't know if that would
every
work.
time they're like, something's getting ready to happen, his brother's like, you stay here.
Yeah.
And the kid's going to follow him. It just happens.
It's like, so,
yeah. Yeah, you need to be leaving town. Let's get out of here.
So I feel like a lot of that is from the like him just being too green at the time. I don't think like that's not like a problem in Bubba Hotep or anything, if like characters constantly go like, we got to go there, we got to go here, we got to go there, we got to keep going back to the same place to get evidence for what, and what's the fucking plan? It's like, they're taking these corpses and doing things.
They're turning them into Jawas so they can transport stuff across a desert planet.
Yeah,
but that's actually not confirmed in this movie. Yeah. It's really just something that like Mike thinks, right? Like, they really make a lot of like leaps and conclusions, which I think is part of like, it's part of the dream, because when weird shit happens in the dream, you kind of just accept it in your dream, right? I wonder if that was intentional.
No, for sure. But yeah, it's the movie works, and there's things baked in that I think, whether it was intentional or not, that cover some of the amateur elements, some of the low budget elements, some of the like, guys, this is my first horror movie script. It does kind of suck. Like, the script does kind of suck. Like, there's a lot of really fantastic ideas, and he does get better, but the script is bad. Like,
I would agree with that. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the initial cut of the movie was 3 hours long, if y'all didn't know. And he knew he couldn't release it that way, so he cut out a lot of stuff. Apparently, a lot of just about the life of the brothers and Reggie and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
But I think in Fable, I see what Fable's saying, that the editing was always terrible in his opinion. But like, I think it's the editing that actually makes the movie have the atmosphere that it does, kind of in a way.
I get it. I get what Fable's saying, because there's a lot. It's jarring. There's a lot of like hard cuts. It worked for me, but I get it.
Do you think that the maybe that's one of the reasons for the dream thing, because it kind of explains some of that away to make okay, it doesn't have to make complete sense because this is happening in his head. Maybe you think that's why they did that, or just a happy mistake? You think happy accident? I
don't know. Coscarelli always says that. You know, and I've met him, right? And I've talked to him a little bit, and he's always said that. Yeah, and he was super cool. I met him multiple times. Like, and the Phantasm guys, they are like a family, right? Like they were always out together, like eating and out at the places, and that's where we just happened to be too. And so they were always really cool and recognized us, and we walked down the street multiple times with Michael Baldwin. Really cool. Anyway, but Don says that was the intention, was like he wanted something ambiguous, that was ethereal, that was like a nightmare. In a nightmare that you didn't he wanted you not to know what the hell was going on. And he kind of does that in all of the movies except for 2, because that was the one that Universal did, and they made him get rid of all that shit and be more straightforward. Anyway, sorry for interrupting. Joe, what were you saying?
You're fine. We should keep going. It's almost half an hour. We're still not.
All right, Link, what do you think about Phantasm, my man?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was. It's a unique beast, and the more I didn't know it was done on such a low budget. It's very inspiring the way they were able to develop or establish an atmosphere, for lack of a better term, I guess. I don't know. The film is so it's odd. There's like a surreal, ambiguous nature to everything. So I guess that does kind of let me like scapegoat there are certain scenes, like when the brothers are in the kitchen and he's like, well, there's something I forgot to tell you, and then such and such and such. And I don't know. There's certain things that come off very corny in the movie, but because of like the surreal, ambiguous nature to everything, it's easy to let it rock, I guess. So I don't know. I feel like it just all fits with the program, and I agree with you, Robbie. There is something about the tall man that he doesn't get enough love, but the man certainly got like presence like a motherfucker. Like I love the scene when they it's not when they first introduce him, but when the younger brother is like watching him walk down the street, and he's got this like weird fucking walk, and it's almost like only the brother can see him. It's a very great scene, but he doesn't even do much in the movie, but he's just got a great presence to him. So shout out to him.
Bro,
I watched this about a month ago for the first time.
Clop, right? And then he gets he stops in front of the ice cream truck and the smoke, and he's just like,
he's right here with his hands out. Going like this. Yeah. I feel like the line, favorite line, he doesn't say much like Lynx is saying, but like I like when he says something, it freaks me out because he's like, "You played a good game, boy, but it's over."
It was over.
Like, very simple.
Almost over.
I actually saw the third one was the one I saw as a little boy. When Reggie's like he's like trying to hook up with that chick. That always stuck in my mind for some reason. And she's the one that says the balls with the balls hanging and shit like that. Yeah. But this is a very unique movie. Glad to have finally watched this one, and it's I definitely plan on rewatching it in the future. Mm-hmm. So I loved it.
So this was a first time watch for you then, Link?
Oh wow.
Yes, I watched it about a month ago to prep for this, but second one. But yes, nice. First this year as a grown man. Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right, let's dive a little bit into it. before we rate it, and then continue the celebration onwards. Let's talk about the performances and the characters. There's some good ones. Jelani, what's one you want to highlight?
I'm gonna take. See, there's so many. I want to take the Jawas, all the Jawas, because I thought it was cool. That, what was his name? Tommy. I want Tommy because Tommy is. He freaked me out when I was a kid. He freaks me out now when I see it again because like that whole car scene, like that shouldn't happen. That's a lot of work, and then you find out that's your friend. You take it off, and they're like, "Oh, it's this little midget. He's crushed him into this little thing, and he's got this great big head." And it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It still bothers me to this day because like. I get it because they were like, it was because of gravity. They have to crush their bodies down to do this.
Because of gravity and the heat.
And the heat. I'm like, yeah, the heat does that. That's why we need to do this. But it's such a wild concept.
It's a weird idea, man. You're like, this is your first horror film. You got 300 G's put together, and you're like, all right, so what if they're from this fucking planet? Where they like shrink them down into like dwarf size, and like it's just such weird.
Like, drones of themselves to this planet to make schemes for reasons.
So weird.
It's
so
such a concept. Like I never thought I'd watch a movie where that was a place and be okay with it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'll go with Tommy.
All right, Tommy and the lurkers, the rest of the lurkers, like and they get more defined throughout the series, right? The makeup effects in part 2 are some of the best in 80s film, especially from the late 80s. Brooks, what's a performance you want to highlight?
Well, I really liked the tall man, the female aspect of the tall man, the blonde lady, I guess.
Yeah, the lady in lavender.
Yeah, Lady Lavender. Yeah. But yeah, like, you know, I like the fact that the tall man, he's kind of a shapeshifter. Like, you know, he has like 2 different aspects that he can use. Like, you know, he uses a tall man when he like needs to like intimidate or fight. But he has like he has the lavender lady when he needs to like try to seduce somebody, to draw somebody in. It's like, you know, it's an interesting dynamic. I love how the little flash where it'll be her face and then it'll be Angus Scrimm's face. It's like, you know, just a fun little thing, like, you know, because the tall man is like, I've seen like all 5 movies and I still really don't know what his deal is. But like in my head, I've kind of just made up like he's kind of just a green being, so like, you know, logic doesn't really apply to him. He can just kind of do whatever. You know, he has psychic powers, obviously. He can
makes a portal to another dimension.
Transform. He's just kind of a weird guy, I guess.
He is a weird guy. I mean, in a nutshell, right? If you don't remember the rest of the movies, he's like a former doctor turned mortician who's trying to discover more about the realm of death, discovers that realm, the red planet, goes into there and comes back now completely different. And I think taken over by some kind of demonic force or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be kind of like a servant of some kind of like alien power.
Yeah, he's trying to become the Lord of the Dead.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's that dude.
So anyway, I really like you picking the lady in lavender. That is Kathy Lester. I've met her before, but not at the con. I actually met her at a taco place with Don and the rest, you know, just the Phantasm crew, man.
Right.
They're my homies, man. We're up. Yeah. Matt, what about you? What's a performance, a character you want to highlight?
Well, I'm happy he's still here on the board. There's Reggie Bannister playing Reggie. Because Reggie is the definition of what you would call a true ride or die friend. They call him up in the middle of the night and say, "Bring your truck." He doesn't question them at all. He just shows up. We're going to shove this dead body thing in your ice cream truck. Sure, why not? I don't give a shit. Just lock it in there.
Hey man, this dude's not going to leak all over my ice cream, is he?
Yeah,
man?
That's his only concern. Also, he seems like a real sweetheart, and he can play the guitar pretty good. You know, he was actually him and the guy that played the older brother, were actually
Bill
musicians.
Thornbury.
Yeah, Thornburg. Sorry, I'm bad with names on these movies. But yeah, they were actual musicians too. They had bands, and I don't know. I think Reggie's kind of the heart and soul of all these movies. To
Yep.
be honest with you, so like I know we're not talking about all of them. I'm talking about this one, and I really like. I know the acting aside. I know, like Joe said, there's some of the acting's kind of, I guess, not the best, but like I really like the scene at the end when he's like, "I'm here for you, kid." Like, you really felt that. Like this guy's really like, I don't know. I think that's the one thing about the movie because you could tell is like the chemistry really shows up on screen, even if sometimes the line delivery might not be the greatest, I guess. But like that could be the screenplay. This is an early movie for this director, but yeah, I really just like Reggie, his interaction with the two brothers, and he might as well have been the third brother. Let's face it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Reggie's a ride or die. That's the kind of friend you need right there.
He's basically the Rob Schneider that's in Surf Ninjas,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, basically. But yeah.
But
Man,
no, he's
a real
great,
Reggie
man,
was a
and
good guy.
you're right. He is the heart and soul of this entire franchise. He kind of becomes and adopts an Ash Williams type, like an Ash type personality a little bit. What about you, Joe? What's a performance you want to highlight?
You know what? I'll go with Mike. I think for me, it was some of the most pivotal casting, which again is kind of like odd that they didn't bring him back, for the second one, because like this movie is not fun if this kid doesn't make it work. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
way too much. Like, I think it's underestimated how much weight of this movie is on that kid's shoulders throughout the whole thing. He has to sell being terrified throughout. In addition, like he's terrified. He's got to ride that line between he's scared of what's happening, but he's determined, and he's planning, and like I mean, he's able to do that, and he cuts the guy's fingers off in like the one scene. Like normally, that would like you wouldn't have a kid character do that in a movie. Like you just wouldn't at the time. Which that's part of what makes this really feel like an American giallo is that kid cutting those guys' fingers off. It's like, okay, yeah, this does not feel like an American horror movie. Like you might have the final girl do that in the 70s, but not a kid.
Yeah,
they wouldn't do that. So I think that all of that really works for me in it. Like you were saying, it is silly, some of the MacGyver stuff, but no, I'm going with the kid, and
he's a resourceful kid.
Yeah,
Oh,
this was the point. One of the first horror movies I can think of, or any movie in that time period, with the trope of the teenage boy riding around on his bicycle all over town.
That's a graveyard on it.
Yeah.
I love when the tall man like fucks him up and like
Yep.
He's just fucking with him, man. I like that.
Like, fuck you, Mike.
Yeah, I hate that he wasn't in part 2. Universal wanted him and Reggie replaced, and Don fought for both of them, but ultimately they were okay with Reggie, but not with Michael. And so they recast him, but he came back in 3 and 4 and even in 5. Right. All right. Steph, what about you? What's a performance you want to highlight, a character?
All great picks, by the way, guys. I'll go with the first kill at the beginning of the movie. I just really appreciated his delivery. He was like, "Far out, baby," or whatever he said, and then he got like gutted by Lady Lavender. What was his name?
Tommy. Yeah.
Tommy.
Tommy. Oh, Tommy's fucking Tommy. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Tommy. Shout out to Tommy. Yeah, brief but great. Very believable. Like it's like, you know what, you got caught lacking, bro, but it's believable after what happened.
Right, she has that effect apparently, or she
And she's
has that
all on top
effect,
of it.
right?
Well, yeah,
Because you
It's a
remember
ring.
when Jody is trying to get some, and he's like, "Wow," and then Mike's over there, "Whoa!" Like, they're like that dude in the Friday the 13th remake. Man, I get left with a great character. Reggie's one of my favorites throughout the series, especially. I love his performance in this movie. But man, Angus Scrimm is the tall man, right? And Angus Scrimm, they say, was like the most gentle soul you would have ever have met. And one of the funny stories he liked to tell about this was that Don Coscarelli said, "Hey man, I'm doing another picture. I'd like you to be in it again. This time you're going to play an alien." And he got really excited with the anticipation of like learning a new accent, playing a foreigner, right? He thought he was like an alien from another country. And then he got the script and was like, "Oh shit." But he wound up loving the role. Angus Scrimm was the stage name he put together for his horror roles. He was already a stage actor, but he's absolutely great. And it's so good that in all 5 of these films, even the last one where he was near death, he still was able to make an appearance as the tall man. All right, let's talk a little bit about the style and structure. We've talked about it already. Let's dive a little bit about your favorite part, the technical aspects of this film. What about you, Jelani? What are you thinking?
It looks amazing. Especially the sphere. Like I said, I already talked about the chair scene where he just gets that thing through its head. That is the cleanest shot. That's the most memorable thing in the movie for a lot of people. Is that sphere and that horrible murder. It's just such a cool death, and like it not only drills your head, it shoots your brains out of your head through its anus. It's still the sickest thing I've ever seen in film.
Based and the crazier thing, Jelani, is when you know what they actually are, what the Sentinels actually are, which are like shrunken down dead people's brains. Put in these things, they all have like a different purpose. Shit. Oh yeah, Link. Sorry, spoilers.
No,
later on, one of them is Jody.
Come on, man.
The buckets and shit.
Hell yeah. It's such a clean scene. I love that these are sets and that that they look so good. That whole mausoleum is one of the cleanest things I've ever seen. Like I'm already bothered by mausoleums anyway because of funeral scenes, or going to funerals and things like you said, Matt. I feel like you, Matt, is the same kind of situation, but like that whole place, the fact that they were able to recreate something like that as a set and not just go to a mortuary and have it there is impressive to me, based on the money that they had in the 70s. Which basically the money you had in the 70s, you can do whatever you want. You can rule the earth. Inflation be damned, and they were complaining about inflation. So it's crazy on the budget that they had how well made this film is. It's shot fantastic. I love all the scenes with the ice cream truck. And that thing coming back. And I heard also that the finger that was in like a guy's finger that was stuck through a coffee cup or something, like the styrofoam in the coffee cup.
Said he was drinking a cup of soda one night and poked his finger through the bottom of the styrofoam cup and said, "That'd be cool."
And by the way, the second you see that and you're saying, "Hey, I believe you," you immediately go to the sheriff. You don't stop and think about it or reopen it or do anything stupid. Just go to the sheriff and be like, "Hey, sheriff, we got a problem."
They never once are the police involved. Do they even attempt to go to the police? I kind of like that they don't, man. And like Jody's ready. They grab the guns. I love it when he's like, "No warning shots, man. Warning shots are bullshit."
They are bullshit.
If you never aim a gun at a man unless you aim to kill him.
Sounds like a Western.
Hardcore.
Hell yeah.
It is hardcore. But
Johnny, you're right, man. Looks great, dude. The special effects in particular, man.
It's tight. It's a tight film, even though it's confusing as hell. I see why it would be 3 hours long. They'd have to cut so many little scenes, but I still want. I don't know. I still want some backstory to the band, to the Jody, Reggie, Tommy band. You know, at least have them do a set or something. Because the scene with Reggie playing the music and Jody's playing the guitar too, I like that scene for some reason. I don't know what it is. It feels like it's earned as a shot, and it makes them genuine. So and I wanted to see a little more of that first before the horrible murder of Tommy. Because really, you don't know Tommy. Tommy is a part of the band. And he's I don't know if he's the drummer. I have no clue. I just know he was in their band and he's dead now. And they don't know anything else with it. They don't really expound on it. But it's a lot of loss. So I'm guessing the death of the parents would be enough as well. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I like that. The music is fantastic. All of it.
Yeah.
It's this score is amazing. It carries a haunting like trail to it. It gives the movie its feeling. Like I said, and I keep saying this: if you don't have good music in your film, some films can go without it and be fine. But for your film to be memorable, in my eyes, you have to have a damn good score. And this one has an exceptional score, so it works well with this film as well, and all the pieces work together. I think it's tightly shot. I think it's a fever dream, so it's supposed to be confused. So it still works out very well, I think.
Heck yeah, man, absolutely. The score, by the way, is one of my favorites. I love that theme. Fred Myrow and Malcolm Seagrave are responsible for that. Brooks, what do you think about the technical aspects, man? What do you want to highlight?
Yeah, well, I can see why somebody would like not be into this movie, but also at the same time, like, you just don't get it, you know. You have to. This is a movie. It's an experience. You have to know what you're doing when you watch this movie, you know. But yeah, like, I love the style of this movie. Like, it is a very artsy movie, and it's a movie that's open for interpretation, you know. Like, my interpretation of the movie is kind of what makes me enjoy it as much as I do, because to me the whole movie, like, beyond a certain point, is just like basically a dream of Michael, caused by his anxiety over having lost his brother. And, my interpretation is at the end, like, his dream comes to life. And that's how the rest of the Phantasm movies work, is like, the tall man is kind of like, that's why, like, his scheme is so ridiculous and doesn't make any sense. Cause like, it all makes sense when he's like, oh, it's cause this kid is just dreaming. And it's like, his anxiety is like, he went to a funeral home. He saw this giant, creepy Scotsman lumbering around. So he turned him into, like, this villain who kidnaps people and, like, turns them into Jawas to have them transport across a planet or something. Like, the whole idea is, like, so ridiculous, but, like, it makes sense in a way. Like, even the tall man, like, pieces of him fall off, but they're still, like, sentient, but they can also turn into, like, fly creatures, and he bleeds honey mustard.
And he's got mustard blood. Yeah, right. That was so weird.
It's just like question upon question with no answers. There's more questions.
That was a Double Dragon Brothers moment right there. They both, like, brought up mustard blood at the same time. I really like that.
Yeah, it's like, I was like, man, it's like, how much honey mustard they have to use for that scene? I wonder.
Well, you guys have a better mind, like a cleaner mind than mine. I just said it looked like pus or something. Somebody.
Taki, thank you for the super chat, man. His name was Hellboy. That's just for you, my man, just for you.
Yeah, and the music is like, one of my favorite soundtracks. Obviously, like, I love the theme, and I love, like, they do variations of the theme throughout the movie. There's like a disco version when he's in the bar, and, like, on the TV you hear that down.
It's another one of those, like, Giallo influences that Joe's kind of talking about, is that prog rock score, right?
Yeah. And Reggie even does, like, a kind of acoustic version at the end too. It's like, it's cool how they, like, they kept the theme, going, and they, like, put some variations on it. Like, the soundtrack sounds like it would, like, you could seamlessly tie it into, like, Pink Floyd's Live from Pompeii, and you wouldn't even notice. Like, it's got that same kind of vibe, the kind of creepy, like down, 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 and then like they'll add another sound on top of it, like just like very experimental, very cool. Like that's part of the reason why I love this movie so much. I think is because it feels like a music video in a lot of scenes, but in a good way. Not in like a way. Like it works. The soundtrack feels important in this movie, I guess, more than other movies, I would say.
Yeah, it's like a character in and of itself. What about you, Matt? Speaking of characters, what do you think about the technical aspects of the film?
I like how Brooks was. We're talking about music there at the end. It also has that like the tubular sound, like from The Exorcist. It kind of reminds me of, or like Halloween, like movie, like these horror films like that. They kind of keep it simple though. When you have a theme like that, just keep it simple. And do a little variation, like like with the Michael Myers.
Just have a simple, creepy little kind of.
Just creepy as hell. Yeah, creepy.
Yeah, but
as
it's
hell.
everything that surrounds it that really gives it the weight. Like it's like the do 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 do.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
awesome.
It builds like another
then
sound,
like
another.
boom,
And like when you look at it,
that's
the standpoint of this being a dream, like we were talking about. I think Brooks mentioned it too. Of course, this stuff's gonna make sense to me. And I've had dreams where like crazy shit's going on, like there might be a flying horse going by, and they're like, well, that's normal. It's a flying horse going by. They're everywhere. Everybody's got a flying horse, so you kind of like the barrels thing. Yeah, it kind of makes sense in a kid's head, Also the set designs, oh my God, for $300,000 budget. I mean, even back then, that's not a lot of money to make a film. I don't really think so. And
no, not at all. Yeah, not even back then. Not with these crazy ideas, but like,
I mean, like
the mortuary looks absolutely astonishing.
There's a couple of parts, like when the spear hits the guy's head, for a second, it kind of looks like the one blade is kind of stuck in, I don't know, like foam rubber or something. But that's like a nitpicky thing. And then like where they drop to the shaft, like the rocks into the old mine shaft.
Yeah, you
kind of see like a little padding on the side a little bit, but other than that,
Star Trek the original series shit.
Yeah, it's like some but that doesn't bother me.
Which you may not have even noticed when you watched it on VHS back in the day.
That's a good point, Robbie.
We have a really good remaster because J.J. Abrams is the one behind the remaster.
Yeah, Bad Robot.
He's such a huge fan. The character Captain Phasma is actually based on his love of Phantasm. That's why she's silver, right? So I thought that was interesting.
I also thought it was the way they do the parts with the Thin Man. Sometimes, like I can't remember who said it earlier on the panel, but like when he sees him on the street, and he's doing that. Was it you, Robbie? He's doing that weird thing with his hands or whatever, and like like Reggie's over there putting stuff in the ice cream truck, doesn't even see him. It's like nobody even sees him except the kid, right? So I like that part, and like I don't know, would this be kind of a precursor to Nightmare on Elm Street?
Oh, there's definitely there's definitely some elements, I would say,
especially that ending.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Getting pulled through the mirror, and then she gets pulled through the window, right? Yeah.
I got some interesting thoughts on a lot of that. I was saving that for the style structure. That's all I got so far for the technical. I thought they did great with the special effects for what they had. Like we were saying, just one last thing, like how they got the balls going through the hallway. They got like a high school baseball player, and they put like sand or something in the balls, and he threw them like he was throwing a pitch. So
he just chucked him down the hall, man. I mean, what else are you gonna do, right? And then they had to learn like how to light it when they were doing the close-ups of it and everything. Really interesting, man. The guy who designed those for them died right before the film got released. So
what the hell?
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. There's somebody else that was involved in the production that died too. There's like on the DVD or on the Blu-ray that I have, there's like a 1979 interview from the University of Miami, like hosted by their film professor, and it's Don Coscarelli and Angus Scrimm. They're talking about this movie, and he asked them about this, and Don Coscarelli's like, "Yeah, it's kind of really fucked up because like studio keeps wanting us to talk about it, and I think that's a weird way to promote the film." It's like this is kind of something. They died, man. Cursed film. What about you, Joe? What do you think on the technical side of things?
You were mentioning the stuff with the tall man and all that, and I don't think we really went into how he was 6'4", and that still wasn't tall enough in some instances, so he would have to stand on crates.
Yep.
They intentionally dressed him in like suits that were too small to like extenuate like how tall he looked. And I mean, for a low budget movie, like that stuff's hard to spot, even when you know that's what's happening throughout the movie. Like every once in a while, like maybe you could tell if you're really looking for it, but like if you're just watching the movie, I don't think you really notice it, and that's pretty impressive. Obviously, the crazy special effect with the silver ball and the janitor and all that, like that was crazy. The car explosion, that's really
legit car explosion, man.
It's a really legit one. They filmed it like from like with two cameras to get two shots, because like after that blew up, that was it. Like they didn't have the budget to keep doing that, so
it's the only hearse we had. We didn't plan,
you know. And the whole scene, I mean, with the kid pulling out the gun, I mean, that's another thing too. I didn't even mention before, was like, tell me a horror movie from the 70s made in America where a kid is actively shooting a gun. It's not. Especially when the kid's like a protagonist that we're supposed to be rooting for.
Oh, this kid's got like a chromed out like Colt 1911 45. Yeah,
it's nuts, and that whole bit, the amount of he's breaking windows constantly, just like
I love the shotgun shell hammer though. That's the
yeah, but it's like, but it feeds into how it's all a dream, right? And it makes it feel very intentional. Like, that kid so effortlessly shatters that window to break into the funeral. Like, no problem. Like, it's kind of cool, like, how they're able to do all that. And that has to be the argument, in part, of what they made to keep some of that stuff in, right? When they were going to get that, like, X rating or NC-17, it was like, it's a dream. Don't worry. Like, he's not actually doing these.
Wanted him to break in.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, it was really good. They did a lot with a little, which is what you love about these things.
Absolutely. What about you, Link? What do you think?
I think for me, the movie, we've joked about how the line delivery can be a little stilted, but visually I think the movie was aces. And like the more like you guys tell me about how it was like done on a smaller budget, I'm very impressed with what the whole aspect of what they were like. Everything looks very polished, especially I didn't know this was like one of his first movies, like first smaller budget. I don't know. There's just so much iconic shit. Like Jelani said, the whole the sphere with the blood spilling out, that alone, like, I don't know, him dodging, ducking, and I don't know. I was very impressed with the whole thing. I can't say anything better than you gents have said. Visually it was amazing.
Heck yeah! I wonder, do you have any thoughts on the music, Link?
Oh, yeah, the music. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed the theme. I'm kind of buzzing right now, so I can't think of how it really went, but it's very catchy, and like you guys have said, they've got different variations of it, but it's always very recognizable. Like as soon as they start getting into it, you're like, okay, yeah, it's almost like the Walking Man's theme, but it's shit. I wish I agree. It's good. It's good. This music's very aesthetically pleasing, sonically and visually.
Heck yeah, man. I like that. All right. This movie's got, I think it's got some deep and rich themes in the movie if you really start thinking about it. Jelani, what's this movie speaking to you?
Well, it mainly it's grief and loss and how you handle it. I mean, that's the overarching theme of this movie anyway. Mike loses his family at this point, and he does not know how to cope with it. So he comes up with this fantastical story that may or may not be true. It could be true, sure, but it's basically Mike trying to cope with it. And as a 13-year-old boy, a lot of things can happen to you that you're not really prepared for. And your life kind of gives you that push to try to cope with it, to make it better. And like I said, he thinks of spears and old men chasing him. And it seems like that worked out for him pretty well, because he still at the end gets pulled in. Because if you take this movie for what it is a crazy nightmare that this kid is having. And I'm waiting for the end of it to where he just wakes up and he's just, covered in sweat and screaming. And that could have been the end of the movie, and it would have worked that way too. I think, it is, like we said, it's open to interpretation in a lot of different ways. But mainly is about dealing with loss. And I know everyone's going to have to go through it, and people have gone through it many times over. And it's just how we cope with it, how we are able to pursue our lives, or I'm sorry, not pursue our lives, but to continue our lives, knowing that A, death is inevitable, B, it comes for all of us, C, we must be steadfast in it and understand to live the best life that you can, minus all of the loss that is ahead of you. I will say. I'll do that.
Word, I like that. What about you, Brooks? What you thinking?
Well, I think an pretty obvious theme in this movie is fear and overcoming fear. Like Mike's big thing is his fear of losing his brother. And I think that's kind of what manifests all these other fears. He sees the funeral attendant guy, and his fear transforms him into the tall man. He sees this woman with his brother, and his fear transforms her into a part of the tall man too. I think and there's that's even the scene early on in the movie where he sees the fortune teller, and they do the little Dune thing where he puts his hand in the box, and she has to tell him don't be afraid. And that's the way to get his hand on the box. And later on in the movie, when things are getting really bad, he has to stop for a minute, and he has to say, don't be afraid. And it's harder than it looks. It's harder than it looks. When you're afraid, when you're truly afraid of something, overcoming that fear is not as easy as just toughing it out. You gotta really it takes a lot of strength of character to overcome your fears. And we all can't do it. Sometimes it's not doable. Everybody is afraid of losing their entire world. The person that's closest to them. We fear losing them so much that that fear can consume us when they're gone. It's what is the world going to be like now? You don't know. What is the world going to be like without this person in my life anymore? And that fear is what makes the mourning period so difficult for a lot of people. But eventually you do overcome it. And I think in Mike's case, he's still too young. He's not ready to to move past his brother's passing, and that's why that I think the tall man is manifested, and the rest of the movies work. It's a strange franchise. I love it, of course, but I can't tell you what really happens in it. I know some weird shit happens, and Reggie goes around and he's badass, but it's a strange franchise. But I think this movie as a standalone works really well too, because it has it's a pretty simple theme, told in a very simple way, but in a way that's not talking down to you at the same time. And all the corniness and the bad line and stuff, I love that shit. It's just become such a part of the movie that it becomes part of the reason that I love it, rather than something that I dislike about it.
Hell yeah, love to hear it. What about you, Matt? What's this movie speaking to your soul and heart?
Well, I'll try to make it brief because I've been having this like abscess tooth thing. It's really bothering me. But movie's about coping with grief, like I said earlier, and like Brooks was talking about. So I'm sorry, I was gone for a minute. Um, and like I think it's about the stages of grief. Like it also reminded me like when my stepdad died. I'll make a long story short. We were having, you know how it is. Like I didn't really, man, I can't believe he's gone, because he used to give me a lot of good advice, and I was staying with mom. And he had this old alarm clock. He was a big car person. Like he loved cars and like car racing. And he had like this, drag race tree, like alarm clock, I'm talking about like the green, red, yellow lights or whatever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even plugged in or anything. I don't know what happened. And I had a dream about it. And I woke up to this alarm going off at like 3:00 in the morning. And I almost felt like it was his way of telling me everything's going to be all right. Don't worry about it.
Oh, wow.
And I felt like with this kid, it's like he's already went through this traumatic experiences, right? Like did his parents die too?
Yeah.
Yes.
So so you top this on with that. And like, it's great. You can see the symbolism is bleeding through the screen. Like the kid's always following around. He's telling his brother, don't leave me behind. You're wanting to leave me, aren't you? Because he's always like, everybody leaves me because that's like when you're lost that much as a young person, you probably think that everybody's leaving. You're afraid everybody's going to leave you at some point. And also, but even as adults, we realize that of our parents, like they're not going to be here forever. But now that I watched it again today, though, I kind of have this weird feeling that like maybe Tommy had died in the car wreck too. Because why did the Thin Man have to take him at the end of it? So I don't know. And I think the Thin Man kind of represents like, how the death or like the boatman on the river Styx would take you to he's taking these people to their final journey, right? And the kid's trying to he's just trying to spend as much more time as he can with his brother that he possibly can. And that's why every time he's always going around saving him, because that's him stopping for what's going to happen. He's trying to stop inevitability. That's the way. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but that's what I got.
No, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
No, well said. I like that. And thank you for sharing that, man. Appreciate that. Joe, what about you, man? This movie's got some themes. Anything sticking out to you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what this movie is really about has been covered. I do think it's specific about sort of young anxieties in general. I think you could easily transfer this to other kinds of things, even for, moving away or something like that. Just like, that people are taken out of your life without your control. And like, I don't think the movie quite gets there, but like, because it's recycling their corpses and stuff like that and using them in monstrous ways. And I feel like it stops like a little short of saying something about how, once someone's gone, their legacy, they're not here for themselves. So their legacy is up to, what you think about what other people do with their legacies. And, like it's almost there. I don't think it quite gets there in this movie, but like, if they put a little more into that bit, then I'd also say that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Buzz Lightyear, what do you think?
Everything you guys have said, and a little then, and a little more. I can't add too much more. Yeah, I definitely think it's dealing with like the idea of loss. And after hearing you guys talk about it, I could almost read the movie as like Mike is dealing the whole movie is Mike trying to deal with his brother's death, and like the version we saw was just his fucking nightmare of him trying to go on like one last journey. And it's like, they say his brother in the dream, they say his brother died in a car crash, and it's like maybe that's why the orb, there's like this metal sphere that's trying to kill him in the dream, is because that's what killed his brother, like a hunk of metal. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's definitely dealing with, I think it's dealing with a young person's version of it. Grown up. It's a tale of grown up, long story short. But what you guys said and then some, it's a great movie. Check it out. I recommend it.
Incredibly well said, Link. Thank you. I mean, I agree with everybody too. Everybody's on. I mean, we know it's about grief, it's about loss. You know, Don Coscarelli, the very first idea that popped in his head. Man, aren't funerals weird?
Yeah.
Like how we deal with death.
Yeah.
We pump chemicals into these bodies and we doll them up and we go to these fucking weird fucking places that are actually beautiful, but not because of the connotation. So it's kind of creepy and it's like gothic, and just throw in some sci-fi ideas, right? But it is about grief and exploring this kid that's lost his brother after he's lost his parents. I've never heard Don Coscarelli mention this, so I don't think that this is something necessarily that might be intentional, but I think it's something that was happening in horror films in the 70s. You always have great booms of really interesting horror films after major moments of societal change and impactful times, right? And this is like the post-Vietnam era where you get movies like, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, you get Phantasm, right? And I think you could look at Phantasm as, even if it's not intentional, you can read into it a commentary on a generation of young kids who lost their brothers in a war.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? There's a whole generation of kids
that
lost their older brother. And I think that you can really, because Jody, it is implied that he has a military background. And that's why he says things like warning shots are bullshit. If you shoot somebody, shoot to kill. Don't even aim a gun at somebody unless you're willing to kill him. That's like, it feels like it's military shit. And we know that he came back to handle, you know, his brother. And it feels like he hasn't really been there, maybe because he's been away in the military, right? Maybe he has served or something like
always
that.
Like, you're going to run away. You're going to leave me. He's always
he's like, you're going to do it again. He even like in those moments when he's talking to that buddy he hadn't seen in a while, he keeps talking about him as the kid. Oh, the kid, you know, he'll be fine. The kid, I'm going to take him to his aunts or whatever. So, I mean, it's about, you know, the fear of losing, even if the brother was just going off and doing his own thing. There was a big plot in the 3-hour version where Jody has a girlfriend and they're having some issues right there. And it actually at one point would end with them getting married in like a dream sequence or whatever. And so that was one of the ideas, was like the fear of like he's losing his brother now because he's going to get married or something like that. But I think you can read into that as part of this post-Vietnam, just, you know, idea space fills up and everybody starts pulling from a lot of the same influences, especially in times of societal change. I think it's one of the reasons why we're going through such a great boom in horror right now over the last few years. We were talking about that last night on Dylan's Horror Show. Like, last 3 years have been pretty solid for horror films and in the mainstream, and very clever and original films. All right, let's rate this film and get out of here. Out of 5 possible, you digs, you out there in the chat, let me know what you would rate the very first Phantasm film, written and directed, by the way, also filmed and edited by Don Coscarelli. He did everything but serve the sandwiches, is what I've heard. Apparently his mom might have done that, though. Delaney, what would you rate this film out of 5, you digs?
I like this film a lot. It is iconic in a lot of different ways. It was one of the signs of horror, to be honest. It drives terror. It brings the fear, as it should. But like I said, I only like it, so I'll give it a 4.5. It gets the 5.5 bump for me. Not the full 5, even though it probably deserves the 5 because it does kind of still freak me out. And the tall man still freaks me out. And the spear definitely freaks me out. I don't need the spear to chase me for any reason. But, you know, it's still got some things to me. It's still a fever dream. I still have to watch another movie to understand it. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
All right, that's fair. 4.5, pretty high rating. What about you, Brooks? What you sitting on?
Well, I've made it no secret that I love this movie, so I can't like fake you out anymore with it. But yeah,
Fair
like
enough.
this movie is great. Like, you know, I watched it twice because I felt like it. You know, it's a movie that I enjoy watching.
Okay.
And like, you know, so I'll give it a 5. Like, you know, I love it. You know, I see the flaws, but like, you know, I love the flaws as part of the piece now. You know, that's my personal feelings towards it. Like, you know, I don't knock anybody for like, you know, not thinking it's a perfect movie. It's definitely not, and not being your thing, because you know it's a bit, you know, it's a bit highbrow, I guess you could say.
I would
But,
say all those
sure.
weird bits, the delivery, the
Yeah.
amateur nature of it. It's
Gotta
all
find
part of
this
it.
tall dude. We're gonna stomp him out, hold it down, drive a stake through his goddamn heart.
I mean, it is that simple, Reggie. You know, but it all
Yeah.
to me that all adds to the charm.
Dude, that mother's strong.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, Matt. What about you? Out of 5, you digs. Where you sitting?
Oh, I love it. It's not my favorite movie from that time period, but I love it a lot. So I'll give it a 4.69.
All right, 4.69. I think that's appropriate for this film. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, for me, this is a 4.5. I really think this is a great movie. There are some really big flaws like throughout that are hidden incredibly well by how inventive and creative it is, and it anything that's done by an auteur like that always gets, you know, extra for that. So I'm going with a 4.5. I also think it's important that everyone know immediately after I say that I purchased tickets yesterday to see Neil Breen's Dire Duplicity on the big screen.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait. I really can't.
Heck yeah.
I look forward to this
4.5 from
review.
Joe, and congratulations. What about you, Link? Where you at?
You know, 4.5, but with a little horror bump to meet my Double Dragon brother Brooks for a 5. This movie, I haven't seen all of them, but I look forward to watching the rest of them. The fact that they were so spaced apart but still so cohesive, and this one in particular, man, like, you know, that's, you know, it's crazy that it was done in such a relatively small budget, and I don't know, I'm very impressed with how this film turned out. So I gotta, you know, here we are, fucking long time later. I can't even do math right now. I'm too Buzz Lightyear. But it's impressive and very enjoyable.
Heck yeah. All right, a 5
So I'll give
from
this one
Link.
a 5.
I'm right there with you and Brooks. I'm giving it a 5. I don't need the Horrorfest bump, but I mean, I just love this movie. It is one of my favorite films. It's one of my favorite horror films. Y'all, anybody that knows me knows I love this movie, and it's like a big inspiration to me. And when I got to go meet some of the guys behind the movie, I was like so crazy. And that's why, like, it's one of my favorite memories of a Scarefest. By the way, this Scarefest is going to be awesome. We got pretty much almost everybody who's ever been involved in the Evil Dead's going to be there. It's the biggest Evil Dead reunion in history. Like, everybody's there. Everybody except for Bruce right now because of what he's going through. But everybody's there. Yeah. Sam Raimi's there. Whatever Alvarez is there, right? Like, the directors of these damn movies are there. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be super fun. Dean Cundy is there. Longtime John Carpenter cinematographer. That's crazy. Everybody check out Scarefest. So We got some out in the chat. We got some good ratings I wanted to spotlight before we finish up. 34 Easy E says 4.5. Name Changes says 2.69. Oh, okay. Jay says 4. Two Gun says 4. Fable at a 3.5, same as in Turboville. Metal Elf Collectibles saying 4. You dogs, bro. Come on, man. We're gonna kick you out of Horrorfest. Introspect M says I'm going 4 digs. I love the film and it's got a lot of original ideas. What they did with what they had was amazing. Needed a little bit more of the balls. Yeah, absolutely. Fable with those Neil Breen tickets, man. All right, so here on the panel, that's a 4.5 from Jelani, a 5 from Brooks, a 4.69 from Matt, a 4.5 from Joe, and a 5 from me and Link. And that is a PCP average of 4.78169, dudes. So I like the way that math works out. Thus concludes our movie review of Phantasm, in which we are kicking off the first week of Horrorfest. Or the second week, my bad. But it continues on Thursday night over at Blood Splatter Chatter. I'll be joining the crew to talk about Prince of Darkness. Then on Sunday night, join me and Dylan over at Dylan's Horror Show. We'll be talking about the autopsy of Jane Doe. And then next Monday, we'll be kicking off week 3 here on the channel on PCP Movie Night with the horror of Dracula, the Hammer film starring Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Horrorfest rolls on through, y'all. That's what we do. Jelani, thank you so much for being here. What you got going on, man? Final thoughts.
Great to be here. Great talking about Phantasm again. Great Horrorfest with you gentlemen. Always a pleasure. Of course, Brooks and I do this thing together. We do as call and go figure reviews. We review toys and stuff. And this last week we did a couple bangers. We had first of all the oh wait, I forgot. I did give you the thing. Didn't I give you the thing? Didn't I? I did. It's the SDCC exclusive Professor X.
Awesome.
He was from the X-Men 97 show. It's a new chair, same Professor X. He still sold out. He's still paid in the butt, but I got him. It was pain in the butt, but we'll talk about that in the video, so check it out. And we also did another video, which was fun and exciting, and that was the Sagat versus Ryu. These Storm Arena figures, the 2-pack. It wasn't a 2-pack. It was 2 different figures. But we rate and compare them to the Jada Toys versions of these. These are the direct rivals of some of the cheapest Street Fighter 2 figures ever made. Even though these are Street Fighter 3 Alpha, they're the same price. Normally, like there's 8 or 7 inch figures, and they're $100 or so dollars. These are like $40. So we talk about those. Check that video out. You know, do all the things we ask you to do, and of course, get out there and go figure. More news to come on the channel.
All right, Brooks, thank you for being here. Final thoughts on this highbrow movie from such an auteur like Don Coscarelli.
Yes, and because of this movie is so important. Like I was like, my figure of the night has to tie in somehow. Like I can't just pick anything. So I settled on Extendar because he's a tall man.
He's a tall man.
Yeah.
It's very true.
That is true.
He can become a short man too, so he can turn into female tall man. But yeah, I did it.
Good job.
Heck yeah. Nice guy. Plus, he's got a silvery armor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's like the orb and the tall man.
Yeah.
Boy, played a good game, boy. The game's over. Time to
You
die.
think when you die, you go to heaven? No, you come to us.
I need a tall man pinhead crossover.
Yeah, no shit, dude. They would just be boying each other.
I would like to see a Centibites pinhead crossover with Tall Man.
That's such science.
Matt, thank you for being here. Final thoughts, my man. What's going on with you?
Yeah, my final thoughts. No place I'd rather be on a Monday night than sitting here with you guys talking about horror films. I love it. But so I got a couple of things coming up. Wednesday, I got a retrospective coming out for Amazing Spider-Man issue 300. No, wrong one, but it's okay. The Birth of Venom, first appearance. Although it's debatable, some people, including the creator, Todd McFarlane, says it's $2.99, but it says 300 on all the other stuff. But then we got a video later on that day on Wednesday at 9 p.m. live stream. We're going to be reviewing me and John's Comics with Friends, and I'm trying to get Fable and my friend Big Jeff roped into it. I think Sabrina Coffee Monster will be there too. We're going to be reviewing the outlaw Josie Wells, not Jose Wells, but Josie Wells. I think arguably maybe his best Western, even though I know everybody talks about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the Unforgiven. But it's definitely probably one of the most, I don't know, most interesting movies to me personally about the Civil War. But anyway, and then Friday I have a little special video coming out. We're talking about issue 1000, previewing it of Amazing Spider-Man. It's gonna be like 100 some pages, so that's gonna be wild. So like I said, it's 63 years in the making. So and Chad will be there too. Yeah, Chad will be there too. Sorry, Chad.
How much does that issue cost? Like $15?
$9.99.
Yeah,
we talk about that too.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive for today's standards. For it to be that big.
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much for being here, man. What's going on with you? Final thoughts?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, no. I mean, I had a great FlameCon the other week. It was a lot of fun. Chase and I tabled there together. We debuted our token trans guys, which are Magic the Gathering tokens based on stereotypical trans guys. It was a lot of fun putting that together. And we were also selling some Here's Moping prints. We had a new one recently where I talked about how the Golden Crisp mascot Sugar Bear isn't very attractive.
He's got that voice. Can't get enough of that sugar cream.
Yeah, exactly. Very Bing Crosby, but like, I don't think Bing Crosby doesn't ooze like sexuality to me.
No.
It's just where I'm going with that. But I got that. I got the Ruth Roche book. It's coming out soon. Pre-order it. Very excited for that. I should be getting a final PDF to look over soon. Like very soon, and I'm excited for Robbie to check it out, and we can talk about it. And I'm very proud of how this book's probably coming out because, like I said, I still have to see this final PDF, but so far proud. And yeah, it's true. I did text Chase that at 2 a.m. I started by saying like sugar, like the Golden Crisp mascot sucks, and then he was, and then getting that text randomly at 2 a.m, he texts me understandably like, huh? And I explained why I didn't like him.
Yeah, that's valid. It's valid, Joe.
Thank you. We're working on the next
greatest cereal either.
It really isn't. And like
frog, dig 'em.
It's an acquired taste. It's like the beer of cereal.
Not enough children's sugary cereals advertise themselves as the beer of cereal. Oh, but speaking of, this is a tangent. Chase and I the other day rewatched, because I had watched it in years, the Flintstone Kids Just Say No special.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I remember that.
It's they're trying to get Wilma to do pot, these like rapscallions in the neighborhood.
Uh-oh.
And the leader of the gang is literally named Stoney.
Of course,
That's perfect.
Joe,
I used to love little Flintstones, man.
have you ever seen the old Winston cigarette commercial with Fred and Barney in it? They're like, Winston cigarettes, Bond. They're so satisfying.
I used to love the Flintstone Kids, man. Is that on YouTube or something, Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, it is on YouTube, yeah. And Michael Jackson's involved, and Nancy Reagan.
Oh
Like
my
it is insane. It's they only did this one special with Flintstone Kids, but yeah.
Hey, Robbie, can we review that on your channel?
I'm writing it down right now. That's actually pretty good.
I thought about reviewing the Star Wars holiday special one time. Just as
Dude, Cartoon All Stars to the
Christmas
rescue,
is
dude.
coming up, man. We should do it, man.
Yeah, I love Cartoon All Stars to the rescue. It sucks
do it.
so much.
I'm gonna do that.
And there's no consistent, like, so Garfield was a phone in the beginning, but then like he joins them as like a cartoon character. So like cartoons are phones now.
Okay.
They're cartoons, Joe. They can be whatever they want, man.
Yeah, you seen like Roger Rabbit?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You not seen Cool World?
Cool World. There's another one I need to
Don't
review.
hate Garfield. He was just drawn that way. Link, thank you for being here, man. What's going on with you? Final thoughts?
Yes, shit. Final thoughts. It's been great to be here. This Thursday, we are covering Prince of Darkness over at Blood Splatter Chatter. Excited to talk about this one. It's an interesting Carpenter film, but we'll get into that.
Heck yeah.
I'll save my positivity or negativity for Thursday.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun conversation. We did Sleepaway Camp 1 and 2 on Thursday night. Then, Prince of Darkness was being talked about. And I was like, you know what? I got the monthly review anyway on Thursday. I could just do a double header and I could be there for Prince of Darkness. It was an excuse to watch it again. I love that movie, man. So I'm excited to dive.
I had different thoughts on it when I rewatched it like last year though. Like, and it's not the way I remembered it.
Yeah.
I don't know,
man. There's something about it I really, really like. So should be a fun conversation.
It's not as flashy as his most well-known films, but there's something to it. So yeah, it's going to be a good conversation.
There's a sense of dread and tension throughout it. So yeah, that's going to be the next episode of Horrorfest. After that will be Sunday over at Dylan's Horror Show, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. And then next week here on PCP Movie Night, Horror of Dracula. The following Wednesday, because we're adding Matt in September, is going to be his first show, Videodrome, which so many of us have covered Videodrome, Matt, and I'm always there. And that's why I'm going to be there. I'm always I think this might be the 5th time I've talked about this damn movie on YouTube, bro.
Well, I thought it's also like a very timely thing because it kind of predicted the future a little bit. I mean, I know it's fantastical, but think about like the media.
I know, dude. I can't that's why we got rid of VCRs, because everybody was getting vaginas showing up in their chest, man.
You know what I mean? I didn't mean that. I meant like OnlyFans. I don't know, and like it ain't an excuse to look at Debbie Harry, 1983 Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're right. So that Horrorfest is just now getting underway, y'all. We got a long way to go and so many more deaths. We're at 173 right now. What's going to happen on Thursday night? Well, just find out and see. All right, for my final thoughts, I'm just going to say, well, I've been sitting here at midnight, and I'll be sitting here till noon.